Let's go to Washington, speak to the Democratic strategist Douglass Sloan. Thanks so much for staying awake for us, Douglass. We know it's late for you in Washington. In terms of how Donald Trump speaks to his supporters, the way he knows how to touch the buttons. Let's just have a listen to this one clip. I think you know what's coming, Douglass, but let's hear it.
What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
There isn't a single official in that town that Donald Trump and his vice president, J.D. Vance, have been talking about that have confirmed that any dogs or cats have been eaten by migrants. What is going on there?
Well, I think we're starting to see some of the telltale signs of a rambling old man there. Unfortunately, it seemed at some points during the debate that Trump would just ramble on incoherently. He was talking about migrants eating dogs. That was hilarious. I mean, and you would laugh at it if you didn't realize that this man was close, perhaps, to being the next elected president of the United States, which is a very serious matter. But yeah, that type of crazy, outlandish rhetoric appeals to some of his base, but really weirds out the rest of the country. And I think tonight was a great opportunity for the country to see exactly who Trump is and who they should not be voting for in this year's presidential election.
Okay, well, that was something that probably he was addressing to his own supporters. But then Kamala, she got quite personal and was goading Trump about his rallies. Something that apparently he's quite upset about is that Kamala Harris is getting a lot of people at her rallies. Let's hear Kamala Harris now.
You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Okay, so most of the analysis we've been hearing, Douglass, has been favorable towards Kamala Harris. But did you not think that Donald Trump was actually, for Donald Trump, really quite controlled? He seems to be at least tampering down a little bit of the most craziness that he's shown in the past.
Well, I think it's really crazy that we're talking about different levels of crazy with the presidential candidate. As I understand it, some of the Republican operatives are saying that his debate prep team should be fired. And the fact that he, as a...
Just before the debate, earlier this week, there was an opinion poll which showed that only 17% of people who responded to the poll have ever changed their vote after a presidential debate. But still, this was a shop window, an important one, especially for Kamala Harris, wasn't it?
Absolutely. We're living in unprecedented times right now. We've never had a presidential candidate step aside for the VP to run for the nomination this late in the race either. So pretty much everything that's going on is historical and unprecedented. And yes, this debate was critical because many people are just being introduced to Kamala for the first time. I think she did great. She was very sharp. And I think this changed a lot of minds. As we can see, Taylor Swift came out and did a robust endorsement of Kamala Harris after the election. So I think she changed a lot of minds tonight in this debate.
Yeah, it was interesting that Taylor Swift came out with that so quickly. There was some rumor that she may even be at the Democratic National Convention. Maybe she didn't want that sort of profile.
He entered the spin room in the debate to try to spin his own debate performance, really belies just how bad it was. And yeah, you know, at this point, we're dealing with different levels of Trump crazy. And that is exactly what you don't want in your president. You want your president to be cool, calm, collected, intelligent, articulate. and cool under fire. And that is what we saw in Vice President Kamala Harris's debate performance tonight.
Douglas, really appreciate the analysis. Thanks so much indeed for talking to us. Douglass Sloan in Washington.
Thanks for having me.